Hey everybody, welcome to episode 30. 30, that's 30 weeks. That's some number of months. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to figure it out in real time. Thank you for being along for the ride. I'm excited to be here today. I wasn't excited to be here today. I just woke up feeling kind of blue, as you do sometimes, and just had a couple of just little frustrations, and that kind of added to my just feeling I woke up with, and I'm going, all right, well, I gotta shoot the podcast. And I'm going, last week's, I don't know if it was a bummer, but a portion of it was maybe a bit of a bummer. And so I don't want to do that this week. But I still want it to be authentic. I want, it's this idea that's always rolling around in my head of like, can something be real and still require a fair amount of effort? And I think it can. And I have some tricks. And I thought today I could tell you some of my tricks that I've picked up along the way. One trick is just fun. And I told people about it on Facebook once. And a bunch of people thought I was just joking and that it was just a funny thing to say. And some people took it seriously. And it works. If you need a little extra juice, if you have to do something that maybe you don't feel like doing, or you're just not that excited about doing, or it's become routine, or you're worried about how it's going to go, or whatever. Here's the trick. And I did it this morning, and it's going to work. To yourself in your head, or out loud, if you want to. You say your name, and then you say the thing you're going to do. And in the middle of the thing, you add a goddamn. So, for me, I say, I'm Christopher Gold, and I'm going to shoot this goddamn podcast. And it just adds this, like, this vigor and confidence. And I don't know what vim is, but it often shows up with vigor. And I think I know what vigor is. So there's probably some vim in there. And it's good. I am Christopher Gold, and I'm going to shovel this goddamn driveway. It's good. And it adds a little bit of, it just adds a little bit to your day, to your life, to the mundane things that we all have to do, but that can be done heroically and triumphantly if you just frame it the right way. So that's one of the ways that we get here when we're just feeling a little bleh. And we want to shoot a podcast that isn't a little meh. We want it to be inspiring and uplifting and fun, even. We just tell ourselves, I'm Christopher Gold, and I'm going to shoot this goddamn podcast. Trust me, it works. Try it. Now, I confess, I have not really tested the strength of this theory. I've only ever used it on fairly mundane things, so I don't know if you went, you know, I'm going to get this goddamn colonoscopy. I don't know. But it might. It's not going to hurt nothing. I promise you that. Colonoscopy might. But you probably need it. Just get it done, okay? So that's how we got here today. How I woke up in a meh mood. And I spent a little time with my son being silly and having fun. And I just told myself, I'm Christopher Gold, and I'm going to shoot this goddamn podcast. And it's going to rip. It's going to rule. So, the other thing, there's two things that have become a part of my, what do we call it, attempted philosophy. Because I almost never am able to perfectly stick to the things we talk about here. But I'm almost always trying, or at least thinking about trying. And there's two things that are pretty consistent and almost always part of my better ideas. One, this will come up later in the recommendations, but it came up for me many years before I heard what I'm going to share with you later. A long time ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I was having a conversation, I think with my sister, about the ocean and how we look at waves as separate from the ocean or something the ocean is doing, but waves are the ocean too. The the calm bottom of the ocean that we think about, the really dark prehistoric part of the ocean we never think about, the serene glistening surface, and the waves are all just the ocean. We experience them differently, we perceive them differently, and we even identify them differently, but that doesn't change the fact that they're just the ocean. And this is an old concept. All the best concepts are old concepts. Maybe not all the best. People liked rap metal. That was a new concept. I didn't care for it. About once a year, with no planning, I just start late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, on the TV. I'll put on a Limp Bizkit video and just start laughing. And then another one, and then another one. And then, when was the last time you guys watched a handful of Limp Bizkit videos? It is stunning that happened to all of us, and we don't even talk about it anymore. It was just regular. They were a huge band, and I'm not passing judgment on the band, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. But it was a moment in time that had not happened previous and has not happened since. And when you look back on it now with some almost 20 years of distance and hindsight, it's the strangest thing. And everyone was just on board. And I didn't, but everyone, they dressed like this and they talked like this and they acted like this. And if you saw someone today acting or speaking or looking the way fans of the Biscuit looked back then, it's stunning. Stunning. Watch the video for Break Stuff. Oh, stunning. Anytime I feel overwhelmed by the current state of things, I think back to the video for Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit, and I think, I lived through that. How much weirder can life get? It'll be fine. Let's stop talking about it, because I don't want to pass judgment. I've heard that those guys are really nice guys. But it was a time, man. It was a weird time. So, how did we get to that? My point is this about waves. Some 6 or 7 years ago, I started just referring to life as riding the wave. Because the wave just kind of happens and does what it does. And we get to decide how gracefully and how intuitively and how laid back we're going to be about our approach to riding this wave that is going to go where it goes, no matter how we choose to interact with it. So the first thing that always appears in my better ideas is that this is out of my control, mostly. And this is going to happen no matter what. And to a degree, I just need to figure out how to go with this thing. You know, surfing a wave is not the same as just going limp in a wave. That's often a very bad idea. But there is an element of surfing, as I understand it, that is a lot about just giving into the wave and understanding, like, here's what I can do on this wave, but this wave is this wave and it's going. The second thing that's helped me a lot, the second idea that's helped me a lot, is this idea that we have at least 2 brains. And the most helpful thought exercise for me, I believe I read it in that Pete Holmes book, but I've heard it other places as well. In your head right now, just in your head, sing the song Happy Birthday. And now think about your brain was singing that song, but you heard it too. So you have this other brain that's listening to Happy Birthday right now. And maybe it's also, there's a third brain or a second brain that's multitasking that's going, this is kind of silly. I don't understand why I'm singing the Happy Birthday song. Why do I even watch this podcast? You know, it's not even really a podcast because it doesn't, I don't know. So you have these 2 brains. And when things happen to you, I think about it as the thing is happening to the brain that's singing Happy Birthday. But my other brain, if I let it, is just observing. and sort of analyzing and making probably better decisions because it's not in the process of singing this song or experiencing this event. And when you identify the two brains, you can try to just be the second brain, the brain that is just seeing things come and go and knows that they will go eventually. My understanding is that's a huge part of what meditation is. I still really struggle with it. I've never been a good meditator. And when I've done it, I've gotten something out of it, but I've never really strung together an impressive streak of days or anything. And I always find more of my peace in really practicing the mandolin, for example. That really helps me clear my mind. But my understanding that the idea of meditation is not to clear your mind, it's to practice letting things go as they come. You know, you're sitting there, you're focusing on your breathing, and you think about that the car is broken down and needs to be fixed, and you just let it go and go back to your breath. And the idea, as I understand it, is that meditation is really training for the rest of your life when things come into your mind and you can just let them go, or at least trust that they will go in their time. So, these are the things that help me be able to do, hopefully, a more feel-goody podcast than another week of like, I'm just not feeling it, I guess. I just got a lot of really important feelings that I think we should talk about. And it comes in handy, too, because 2 weeks ago, we decided to do our, like, once-a-month splurge. We live a very small life, and we like it that way, but once a month we'll splurge, and we'll get Thai food. We'll do curbside pickup Thai food from one of two restaurants here in town that we really like. And we switch them off to support them both. And this week, we're going to this restaurant called Bowl 91. And they have these kimchi fries that are so good. They're just so good. And one time, a couple months ago, we went there, or my wife went there to pick up the food, and they had run out of fries. My wife came home without the fries and had to tell me, and it's still pretty hard. So my wife goes to pick up the food, and I get a phone call from my wife. And I answer the phone and I say hello, and she's clearly distraught. And I know it's happening again. It's happening to me again. And life's not fair. And I don't ask for too much. I just want these fries. And I'm living through a pandemic, and I just want the fries make me happy. And why can't I be happy? Why won't the universe let me have the one thing that I wanted today? I don't ask for too much. I try to be a good man, a good dad, a good husband. I try to make the podcast. I try to make people feel good. I'm trying to make better biscuits every Sunday, and I just want these fries. And I answer the phone, and my wife says, hey. And I go, hey. And she goes, the car broke down. And I go, but you have the fries? And she goes, yeah. And I go, I'll come get you. I'll come get them. So me and Ollie jump in the car. And this is a true story. This is how it went. But by the time we get in the car, I'm thinking, the car broke down. I can't afford to fix the car. I can, but it takes away from other things. It's a whole thing about budgeting and being a grown-up and how much it sucks. And you know, anytime you have to fix the car when you live a life like ours, it means there are things you'd rather do that you cannot do anymore because you had to fix the car. But the brain of mine that hears the song instead of sings the song goes, look, man, sometimes when this happens, you lose your temper and you look for someone to blame. And if I can be honest with you, and I like to think that I can because we're the same person, you can be a bit of a dick. And I said, fair. And then I said, so just don't. Just don't do it. You feel a certain way, you want to say this thing or that thing or rage against this thing, just don't do it. If you just go pick up your wife and bring the food home without flipping out, you get to eat good food and watch some TV. And then fix the car, dude. The car's broken. There's no one to be mad at. There's nothing you can do. There's no amount of depression or anger or frustration or lashing out that's going to fix whatever's wrong with this car. And you're not man enough to fix it yourself. We'll talk about that some other time. And for maybe the first time in my life, I just decided right then, because also my son's watching me the whole time, I just decided I'm not getting upset about this. I want to. One of my brains is singing that song. But the other part of my brain that's listening to the song goes, this is a bad song. If this song means we don't get to eat warm food and we don't get to enjoy our evening with our family and a thing that's bad anyways just gets to be worse, why would we sing this song? Let's not sing the song. And then I get to decide that's the brain I'm going with. And I decided right then, before I even got to where my wife was, I'm not getting upset about this. And better, I'm going to joke about it. And we brought the car in, and of course, it's an old car. And we had been talking about maybe replacing it at some point. But pandemic, and you just, I don't know if the time's right. And we had decided, hopefully, it'll cost about this much to fix the car. So of course, because we said that aloud, it cost twice that much to fix the car, which we did, and everything's fine. But my main takeaway was, my brain can do what I tell it to do if I tell it to do it, and if I tell it soon enough. I used to have this horrible theory that, well, I gotta vent, I gotta let it out. And sometimes that's true, for sure. But sometimes that's just toothpaste out of the tube that you'll never be able to put back in to the tube. And I realized that when I decide right away, like, I'm not even doing a second of being upset about this. It is what it is. It sucks. Fine. It's frustrating. Fine. But car's broken. Car's got to get fixed. No point in getting mad about it. And it was a little bit easier to do because it's all I did. And I'm trying to hold on to that. That, like, I've entered a phase where I'm experimenting with, maybe I won't vent about it. Maybe someday I'll get an ulcer and die. So don't take any of this advice. But maybe I could just decide, no, I don't want to do that. It doesn't sound fun to do that. I've been thinking more about that. Like, what would be the best way to spend this minute? It's not fun to argue with my wife. I hate it. It's not fun to think about, like, there's all kinds of stuff that we do and we feel like it's out of our control, but what if it's not? What if we can decide, like, yeah, the car's got to get fixed. And in a way, I have the money to fix it. There's ways to look at it where I don't, but I technically do. And it means that, not a lot of fun is going to be, well, not a lot of expensive fun is going to be had. There will be no new guitar this year. There will be none of that. But maybe with the money, you're buying the ability to just go, well, car broke. Got to fix the car. We'll fix the car. And when I did that, I was also able to see all the positives of it. That, like, well, we have a mechanic that we trust at least. That's cool. I don't feel like he's screwing me too badly. And they got it back to us the next day. And we have the car insurance with the free towing. So that didn't cost us a bunch of money. And it worked out okay. And yeah, that's how perspective has helped me these last couple weeks. Even today, I didn't really know what the podcast was going to be about. And I didn't know what song I was going to play you guys. I did know I was going to drink some coffee. So let's do that now. This coffee is strong. You can kind of tell because I'm acting like an idiot. But I'm jacked up on some caffeine. So I didn't know what song I was going to play. And I didn't know what the podcast was going to be about. And then all of a sudden, this whole thing just kind of came to me. There's more structure to this than you might think. Or a lot less, depending on your view of me. So I get this all planned, and I go, I need a song. And for me, like, sometimes I just get so tired of me. I just get so like, I've played all these songs so many times, and I can be really critical of my stuff and yours. And and I just feel like, some of these songs just aren't that good, or they're derivative, or they're not impressive, or it sounds too much like this other one that I wrote, or whatever. But then I had this idea for what the podcast is going to be about, and it's going to be about what the whole 30 episodes have been partially about, which is perspective and thinking about how we think and our minds and that kind of thing. And I realized I have a song for that. It's, if I had rarities, it would be a rarity. If I had B-sides, it would be a B-side. So I'm playing this music festival a couple years ago, and a friend of mine who I see very rarely because we live in different places, and he's in a band and we see each other at festivals basically. He says, hey, you know this compilation that I do every year? And I said, yes, I'm familiar. And he goes, you want to be on it this year? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, cool, I just need an original song by October. And he was on his way to a stage, and I was on my way to a stage. So I said, cool, good seeing ya. Fist bump, on my way. And I just forgot about it. Completely, totally forgot about it. And late September, he says, hey man, just want to let you know, really looking forward to having you on the record. Just need that song from you next few days. And I went, oh, okay, I can do that. And so I sit down and immediately just write this song. And then I have two younger brothers, and I called one of them and I said, hey man, can I come record this song at your house tomorrow? And he goes, yeah, because he's very talented, and he's got a degree in all that stuff, and he's set up to do it. And it would be fun to work with him. And I asked my other little brother, like, hey man, you want to play on this song? He's a great cello player. He says, yeah. So the next day I go to their house, I record acoustic guitar, vocals, harmonica, and bass, and my brother records the cello, and my other brother mixes it and sends it to me the next day. And that was the 3-day journey of this song that's called The Grays, and ended up on the Wisconsin Vinyl Collective Volume 3, I believe. And the reason it fits today is because there's a lot of things about getting old that I don't like. And there's plenty about dying that I don't like. But that's, when I talk about the things I don't like about getting old, and things about death that freak me out, that's the brain that sings the song. The brain that listens to the song goes, this song that you're singing that's about fear and dread and all this stuff, it could be a song about all the time you get to spend with people you love, and all the time you get to spend doing what you want to do, and all the years you've spent on this planet. And that would be a better song. And I say, fair enough, brain. I wish you wouldn't disagree with me all the time, but you're right, I guess. So I have this song. It's called The Grays, and I guess it's about getting old, and it's about dying, and about how that could be the mark of some really good stuff if you let it. And hopefully it is. And it goes like this. Anybody walking on the ground is a god. When you're buried in it, you can't believe. They live their lives underneath the clouds and just move on, like you'd never been there, like you'd never breathed. In an air so fine and sticky sweet, some of these summers you wouldn't believe. So I'm grateful for the grace, every line across my face, every souvenir from every day spent here with you. I'm grateful for the grace, every line across my face, every souvenir from every day spent here with you. Everybody's sure they know what they'll miss when they've said their goodbyes, when they've said goodnight. But I got a feeling in my bones my money ain't worth a thing. But I'll miss these late nights, and I'll miss your eyes, and how the way you loved me for who I was made me into who I would become. So I'm grateful for the grace, every line across my face, every souvenir from every day spent here with you. I'm grateful for the grace, and every line across my face, every souvenir from every day spent here with you. Here with you. I had a little smile while playing that song, because when I in the chorus, when I say every souvenir, I'm always a little unsure. It's in a part of my range that I'm not totally confident in, and I'm always worried that it sounds bad. It sounds like a reach. And I had a little smile because I ran through the song earlier today, and me and my son had a big laugh where I was being kind of comical about it, and he thought that was really funny. But then I also had a chuckle the second time I did it, where I realized that note is a bit of a reach. And I realized the whole song is a reach. The whole song is me feeling like this and reaching to feel like that. And maybe that's pretentious, but it made me smile. And I don't know if pretentious stuff can just make you smile. So maybe it's something else. Anyway, let's do some recommendations, get you out of here. First up, we got a book by the man, Todd Snider. This is called I Never Met a Story I Didn't Like, Mostly True Tall Tales by Todd Snider. Got this book from my friend Chuck. I love it. I've read it over and over again. If you're missing live music, this book will be great for that. Todd Snider's an American treasure. He's a phenomenal storyteller, and that's what this book is. It's stories that he's told on stage. Look at this bookmark that my wife made me that says, I love you so much. How could you ever be blue when the hottest girl on the planet makes you bookmarks that says how much she loves you? But there's a section in one of these stories that I will read to you now because it relates to what we talked about today. He says, I met these surfer kids once, and they imparted some philosophy. They told me that when you surf, you don't have a goal, and it doesn't go good or bad. You just do it. You get in the water, and you don't ask the water to do anything different than it's doing. You don't ask the sun to be warmer. You just get in the water because you want to be in the water. You surf. It doesn't go well or go poorly. It goes. And in the moments that I can get there, even before I heard Todd Snider talk about it, when I can just get there like, this is just going to happen. And the best I can do is try to be graceful and maybe pick up some skills along the way to surf it better. You know, maybe I'll start beefing it a little bit less. And then, you know, you need some music. So listen to Todd Snider. This is Cash Cabin Sessions Volume 3. It's hilarious because there is no Volume 1 or 2. He's just a fun guy. He likes to screw with people. Listen to Working on a Song. Oh, I love that song. And it really captures his talent, where he's writing this song about writing a song, but then you realize he's really teaching you how to live and die. And I just now realized that kind of ties into the song I played. So it's great. It's all coming together, man. If I could learn to stop pointing out that I was just figuring it out, you guys might think I was trying really hard. Todd Snider, Cash Cabin Sessions, Volume 3. And then finally, just because it's fun, just because it's so fun, listen to this record. This is Rhett Miller, and this record's called The Traveler. Rhett Miller sings for a great alt country band called the Old 97s that have been around forever and are just always doing good things. But he has a solo career. On this record, his backing band is a band called Black Prairie. And Black Prairie happens to be most of the members of a band called the Decemberists. And on this record, he's also joined by Peter Buck from REM. So listen to this record, man. It's great. Listen to Wanderlust. Wanderlust is one of these great songs. They recorded this record like live on the floor, the way I do mine with my band. And they got what we're always going for, this energy of like, when you listen to Wanderlust by Rhett Miller, it feels like it might just take off at some point. Like if a song could just like lift up off the ground and go, Wanderlust would. So listen to it because it's fun and it'll get you stoked. And you know what? You deserve to be stoked. You're doing great. You're doing your best, right? I made biscuits again yesterday. I film these on Mondays. So Sunday mornings I wake up and I make my biscuits and gravy from scratch. And they were a little better. And I got the timing a little bit better. So everything was perfectly warm and fresh. And like I said, my friend Jason pointed out like that could be like a slogan. Go make better biscuits. Because that's all we're trying to do. And I watched the podcast last week because I have to watch it to write down what I did for the description, because most of this is just kind of free-flowing and I don't remember a lot of it. And I was watching it and I thought, that was pretty good, but that first third of it, that 10 minutes where I was sad, was a little long. It belonged there and it made the podcast what it was. But there was a point, maybe at the 5-minute mark, where it just got a little mopey and navel-gazing and... So this was my attempt to make some better biscuits and make something that was authentic and real and acknowledge that I'm a human being that sometimes doesn't feel like doing things or doesn't feel inspired to do things. But at the end of the day, I am Christopher Gold and I shot this goddamn podcast. And I hope it made you feel good. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were entertained. I hope you picked something up. I hope you listen to some good music and drink some good coffee and go make some better biscuits. I love you and I will talk to you next week. Bye.